I was in my room studying when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I heard the sound of two women behind me. When I looked back, I noticed my father standing there with my mobile phone in his shaky hands, staring at me. I could see how mad he was when he started walking angrily towards me. "Run or he will get rid of you," I thought to myself. But let's back up a little first. As a Muslim girl from a Turkish family raised in Germany, I was educated very religiously and always believed in Allah. I prayed 5 times a day, fasted during Ramadan, and dressed like a child to not attract the boys' attention. It was always very exhausting, but I knew I had to do it to make both Allah and my parents happy. When I turned 14, my dad ordered me to start wearing a hijab. I always knew that day would come, but I never expected it to happen so fast. Not wearing it wasn't an option because in Islam, the woman is very submissive to the man and she needs to do everything that he asks of her. As a small child, I would always see my mother when she didn't obey him. He even told her that he was holding back compared to his friend in Saudi Arabia, who would have done much worse things to his wife. So if I refused to wear the hijab, you can imagine what would happen to me. Throughout my life, I was repeatedly told that I was born to marry a wealthy Muslim, and as his wife, I would have to serve him and take good care of him. I always agreed with it, and honestly, I was looking forward to it. But during puberty, I realized that there was something wrong with me. When I looked at girls, I always imagined myself kissing their soft lips and getting close to them. I always thought it was a normal feeling because I was so lonely. My parents would not let me get close to any non-Muslim girls. So it felt logical to me as I only had a few friends. I'm only desiring more friendships, I kept telling myself. But as more time passed, the more uncertainties emerged. One day, I saw a girl on the internet who shared her story on coming out as a lesbian, and I realized I felt exactly the same way. This was when the most difficult phase of my life began. I knew that what I felt was wrong, and that Allah would burn me in purgatory for being this way. In Islamic states, they are even beheaded. And if it wasn't Allah who would punish me, my dad certainly would. But I was just so hungry for a lesbian relationship that I simply couldn't ignore it. Why am I this way? I'm not only a woman, I'm a gay woman. I felt like I was punished twice. I knew I shouldn't be thinking something like that, but I did. Since then, it only got worse. I was losing more and more faith in Allah and was constantly afraid of my parents. My dad quickly realized that something was wrong with me and he began to spy on me. That meant I had to be even more careful. But I knew that in the long run, it couldn't go on like this. One evening, my dad entered my room without me noticing. He was watching a video on my mobile phone where 2 women were kissing each other. He roared loudly of anger. He looked so mad I knew I had to get out of there. So I ran out the door as quickly as I could. My dad threw me a shoe and started chasing me. In the background, I heard my mother crying loudly. I think she knew everything was going to change from that point. I ran away from my home without knowing where I was going. I had left everything behind me as I was running to save my life. After leaving my house, I kept running straight ahead and I never looked back. It was already dark and I needed to find a place where I would be safe. So I decided to go at a friend's house, which my parents didn't know because she was a non-Muslim. When I arrived, she was surprised and amazed to see me for the first time without my hijab on. I briefly told her the story. She understood and let me stay over for the night. The next day, I made my way to the youth welfare office and told them everything. They then organized an appointment for me in a residential group where I ended up staying. Now I'm finally fine, safe, and honest with myself. My parents were deprived of custody and any contacts with me are forbidden. I was told that my father still wants to get rid of me, permanently. But actually, that's his problem. I feel so good in this new life, in my new environment, and it's so nice to be myself. I know there are many girls in the world who are feeling the same way I used to feel. I want them to know that they should always be honest to themselves and not let their religion or anything limit them in life. You should all be free to be who you are.